Shalom, family. I just wanted to come and bring a message to you guys. Something as it hit me as I was reading. The Most High put it and on my heart. So a lot of times we find ourselves studying, doing our own little research, and we run across things that we weren't trying to find. Here I am in the book of Judges, just trying to get better understanding of the book of Judges. And within reading the book of Judges, a life lesson just kind of reiterated itself that I thought I'd share with you guys. So a lot of times we are trying to do the right thing, right? We are trying to stay focused on the Most High and His will for our lives. We're trying to stay on the narrow path. But along the way, we get distracted, whether it be, sometimes it's work, sometimes it's somebody we're dealing with, sometimes it's a friend, sometimes it's family, sometimes it's just our own selfishness, right? But along the way, we lose ourselves and we don't think straight. And a lot of times, when it comes to why we don't think straight, a lot of our weaknesses is our significant other or a person of the other sex. For men, it's these women out here running around these short skirts, and they just like, man, I'm trying to live right, but all of this temptation is around me. And maybe for women, it's the same thing. Maybe they see, these men, running around, and they get distracted in all of these different things. And so I'm reading the book of Judges, and I'm like, wow, like everybody has pretty much heard about the story of Samson and Delilah. And the way you hear the story is you just hear about this woman basically being the weakness to this powerful man, right? But like when they tell a story, they don't really go into the intricate details. And I was reading it today, and I haven't read the book of Judges in probably like a year and a half, 2 years. So I was reading it as if I was reading it for the first time. And I was just like, wow, like, are you serious? Like, so I'm reading it. And not only did she show her true colors, but she showed her true colors more than once. And for whatever reason, Samson just could not see that this woman was not for him. And Samson was dedicated to the Most High from birth. If you don't know, there is something called a Nazarite, in which you dedicate yourself to the Most High. You live at a different standard than everybody else. You follow stricter laws than everybody else. And Samson was dedicated from birth. Some people take on the Nazarite vow after they've already, reached of age. But Samson was from the get-go. And so he had a calling on himself. He was a judge of Israel, okay? But even with all of that, having the Nazarite vow, being the judge of Israel, having a place of authority, and having a divine gift of strength given to him from the Most High, he still fell short. I ain't gonna read the whole story of Samson. If you don't know the story of Samson, go ahead and read the book of Judges for yourself. It begins in Judges, the 13th chapter, and continues on all the way to chapter 16. It ends in the end of chapter 16. But we're going to start in chapter 16 and verse 4. And I'm going to read this small little part right here. And it came to pass afterward that he loved a woman in the valley of Sorek, whose name was Delilah. And the lords of the Philistines came up upon her and said unto her, entice him, and see wherein his great strength lieth, and by what means we may prevail against him, that we may bind him to afflict him, and we will give thee every one of us 1,100 pieces of silver. And Delilah said to Samson, tell me, I pray thee, wherein thy great strength lieth, and wherewith thou mightest be bound to afflict thee. And Samson said unto her, if they bind me with 7 green withs that were never dried, then shall I be weak and be as another man. Then the lords of the Philistines brought up to her 7 green withs which had not been dried, and she bound him with them. Now there were men lying in wait, abiding with her in the chamber. And she said unto him, The Philistines be upon thee, Samson. And he broke the withs, as a thread of tow is broken when it toucheth the fire. So his strength was not known. And Delilah said unto Samson, Behold, thou hast mocked me, and told me lies. Now tell me, I pray thee, wherewith thou mightest be bound. And he said unto her, If they bind me fast with new ropes that never were occupied, then shall I be weak, and be as another man. Delilah therefore took new ropes, and bound him therewith, and said unto him, The Philistines be upon thee, Samson. And there were liers in wait, abiding in the chamber, and he brake them from off his arms like a thread. And Delilah said unto Samson, Hitherto thou hast mocked me, and told me lies. Tell me wherewith thou mightest be bound. And he said unto her, If thou weavest the 7 locks of my head with the web. And she fastened it with the pin, and said unto him, The Philistines be upon thee, Samson. And he awakened out of his sleep, and went away with the pin of the beam and with the web. And she said unto him, How canst thou say, I love thee, with thine heart is not with me? Thou hast mocked me these 3 times, and hast not told me wherein thy great strength lieth. And it came to pass, when she pressed him daily with her words, and urged him, so that his soul was vexed unto death, that he told her all his heart, and said unto her, There hath not come a razor upon mine head, for I have been a Nazarite unto the Most High from my mother's womb. If I be shaven, then my strength will go from me, and I shall become weak, and be like any other man. And when Delilah saw that he had told her all his heart, she sent and called for the lords of the Philistines, saying, Come up this once, for he hath showed me all his heart. Then the lords of the Philistines came up unto her, and brought money in her hand. And she made him sleep upon her knees, and she called for a man, and she caused him to shave off 7 locks of his head, and she began to afflict him, and his strength went from him. And she said, The Philistines are upon thee, Samson. And he woke out of his sleep, and said, I will go out as at other times before, and shake myself. And he wist not that the Most High was departed from him. But the Philistines took him, and put out his eyes, and brought him down to Gaza, and bound him with fetters of brass, and he did grind in the prison house. So that's all I'm going to read from this. But we know that he ended up dying. He took a lot of the Philistines with him, because the Most High granted him strength one last time. But ultimately, his demise was this woman, okay? And it's like, I read this, and I'm like, bruh, did you not know that this woman wasn't for you? If not the first time, maybe the second time, or the third time. No, just, it took for you to be bound with your eyes plucked out to realize that this woman wasn't for you. I think that, it should have raised a red flag when she originally asked him, what makes him weak? Like, why is he asking me this? Why you want to know what makes me weak? And then, maybe he could have wrote it off. Maybe he could have wrote it off as she's just trying to get to know him on an intimate level, being that she's his wife, right? I'll tell you my deepest secret. You tell me your deepest secret. All right, cool. But after he told her that, for it to actually happen, for her to bind him, and men in the chamber, it kept saying specifically in the chamber. The chamber is the marital bed, the marital bedroom. So while they're in the bed, in their bedroom, people are already in there, and they jump out and try to take Samson or hurt him, or however, whatever they did in the chamber. So after that first time, you should be like asking yourself, okay, so you asked me to tell you my weakness. I tell you a weakness, not the truth, and then I got people that's ready to jump me. Shorty, you're not for me. But once again, it goes back to my original statement. Sometimes we are trying to be focused on the Most High and trying to do the right thing, but we have those distractions. And sometimes we're so caught up in how much we love another person, and we can't see that that person isn't doing us any good. They're just hurting us. Look, no one in the world will love you ever as much as the Most High loves you. And if the person you with, whether it be a man or a female, for my guys, if it's a woman who has your heart, have you wrapped around her finger. For my sisters, if it's a guy that has your heart and has you wrapped around his fingertips, no one in the world will love you like the Most High loves you. So you shouldn't put the Most High on the back burner for anybody. And if somebody is asking you to put the Most High on the back burner, then that person definitely doesn't love you. And they're definitely not the person for you. So I encourage each and every one of you guys to keep focused and remain on the Most High. Be like those horses that pulls the carriage. You know how they have the little blinders? Hey, put the blinders up. The blinders is this word right here. Stay focused in the word. Stay focused on the Most High. And whatever he has for your life, according to his will, it will be done. It will be done. I know that, you get into a relationship, you got butterflies and all types of stuff. Y'all going out on dates, y'all enjoying one another's company, and you just all discombobulated pretty much. But don't let your heart get in the way of what's right and what's wrong. And if they're not treating you the way you should be treated, you know what I'm saying? Fellas, you are kings, okay? You are chosen by the Most High to lead. You have authority. You're supposed to lead and guide and instruct your household, whether it be your wife, your children, and to build with other brothers, right? Sisters, you are queens. Proverbs 31, righteous, chosen by the Most High. Don't let your destiny, what the Most High has ordained for you, to be tainted because you sitting over here trying to put up with a man. Ain't no man worth that. All right. Let's use Samson and Delilah as an example. Let's use Samson and Delilah as a tool to help us when we find ourselves in certain situations where we're distracted, whether it be with a person, whether it be with something else. But I know a lot of my brothers and sisters in the community, you know what I'm saying, trying desperately and struggling with temptation, struggling with a bad relationship, whether it be verbally, emotionally, or physical abuse. Okay. And I know a lot of these camps out here, they're claiming to be following the Most High, but they're being abusive to the sisters. These men are being abusive to their wives, and they're trying to justify it with scriptures that's twisted. And these sisters are being abused. They're being cast out. They're being hurt. And no one seems to care about these types of things. So, lastly, I just leave you with this. Go ahead and reread the story of Samson if you need understanding. I had to reread it because I remember like the gist of the story, but I forgot that it happened this many times. It happened 3 times before he finally broke down and told her what his true weakness was. And never did he ask a question, or never did he, cast her out. Not once. And this woman was his demise. And this was one of the strongest men in biblical history. One of the strongest men in biblical history fell because of a woman. Fell because of his weakness. He was so caught up in love, like it says in verse 4. He was so caught up in love that he couldn't see. He was blinded. He couldn't see that this woman wasn't for him. So if you guys have Delilahs in your life, whether that Delilah be a significant other, whether that Delilah be your employment, whether that Delilah is a personal vice for you, or something that you're struggling with, remember, stay focused on the Most High.